Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Mike Chase with another video here today for you. And this one, you can tell by the title, it's draft season. We are on the eve of night one of the NFL draft, the first round. And the Green Bay Packers have 2 first-round picks. And there's a couple players I would like them to draft. So we're going to get right into this one. We're going to go down a list of 5 players I would like to see the Packers draft tomorrow night. So number 5 on this list is going to be guard Zion Johnson out of Boston College, interior offensive lineman. And this is a player that I think is really good. I think this would be a guy that, honestly, if there's a few receivers left at 22, if there hasn't been a run on receivers at 22 yet, then I think this is a player that the Packers should definitely look at pick 22. The Packers, they have a zone run scheme. That's really, honestly, what Johnson sort of excels at is in the zone run. Really good lateral abilities, and so yeah, I think this would be a really good player for the Packers to take, because I felt last season there was at times where, just honestly, especially after Elgton Jenkins went down, where the run game just wasn't that good for him. I know the numbers might say they were good, but personally I felt like just consistently enough the run game just wasn't that good. I felt like at times they struggled to establish the run, and that would hurt the passing attack for this team. This team likes to, I think, run the ball to set up the pass, and play action, things like that, what Matt LaFleur likes to do. I feel like at times that was hard to do because the running attack just sort of wasn't really good. I felt like they sort of recognized the running attack wasn't going to be that good. I think that's why they ran the ball a little bit more with A.J. Dillon, because they probably felt his body could probably take just the repeated blows of just sort of, grinding out 1 to 3 yards possibly for a bunch of the game, and then let Aaron Jones maybe try to break a big run later on. But I think Zion Johnson, you put him on this offensive line next to Josh Myers. I think you get Elgton Jenkins back. Jenkins will probably play at right tackle. Zion Johnson, another guy, he played some left tackle, actually, at Boston College. He has 2 seasons at left guard. He played 1 at left tackle, but this is a guy that can kick outside to tackle if you need him to. And I think versatility is something that the Packers have shown that they really like out of their players. In the interior offensive line groupings, they like guys that can play tackle in a pinch, can move around a lot. And I think this is a guy that can do a lot of that. And I think this would be a really good pick at 22. If the receivers haven't fallen off the board yet, where you can still get a guy at 28, I believe. If not, maybe this could be a really good pick at 28, but you would have to contend probably with the Buccaneers ahead of them. So either way, I think this would be a really good pick for the Packers. And pick number 4 is going to be, for me, Tyler Linderbaum, number 4 on my list here as of the top 5 players I'd like to see the Green Bay Packers draft. Once again, this is going to get back to the offensive line. I think at center at times, Josh Myers, I think he was able to hold down that position pretty well, actually, but I think not good enough. I don't think he showed enough to where it's like, okay, this is the guy that is going to be the starting center for the next, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't think he has that ability to be that good at center. So after Corey Linsley left, who I think is an all-pro center, I think you need to go find another guy who has all-pro center ability for Aaron Rodgers to work with. A guy that is really smart, a guy that excels at center and is simply just your center. This isn't going to be a guy that you're going to be moving around. So Tyler Linderbaum, I think, makes the most sense here to really just shore up the offensive line at this point. I think let's say you don't take Zion Johnson, you take Linderbaum. Well, if you take Linderbaum here, he's your center. You can move Myers over to guard. You have Elgton Jenkins coming back at tackle, David Bakhtiari at tackle, and probably someone else will slot into that left guard role. Could be Myers, could be someone else. So I think, honestly, this pick makes a lot of sense. They need help at center. Once again, I'm going to keep hammering it here. They struggled to run the ball consistently last year. And I don't like that, you know. And look, Linderbaum, he played at Iowa. They ran the ball a lot. I believe almost 60% of the time they ran the ball. So this is where he really excels, is helping that that run game for the Packers. And I think that's a really big part. I know that sounds weird in a draft where it's like they're going to take receivers because they got to pass the ball and all this of that. But I think you get a guy that can help you in the run game and that can help you out with establishing the run a lot better. And that will make things easier for the passing game. I think that'll allow the Packers to do a lot of their motion stuff. That'll allow them to do a lot of their play action stuff that Matt LaFleur loves to do. So, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people don't think it's necessarily a need offensive line for the Packers, but I think it's maybe their second biggest need outside of receiver. I don't think edge is that much of a need for them. I think they've shown that they can find sort of guys that can slot in on the edge and still give you production. I think Rashawn Gary's about to have, I think last year was his breakout year, but no one really talked about it. But Rashawn Gary was really good last year. So I don't think edge is necessarily as big of a need as some people make it out to be. I think offensive line and wide receiver are the big needs here. And we're going to hit up receiver right after this one. And number 3 on my list is going to be Alabama wide receiver Jamison Williams. This just makes too much sense here. I think he's a really good route runner, and he has quickness. He's fast, and I think that is so key for the Packers here. This is a guy that can win early on in route progressions and quickly get open for a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, who kind of needs that. You know, I feel like for so long the Packers have had all these guys that are just not really good at winning early on in their routes, that are not good at getting open quickly. And you have to sort of see this offense sort of at times sort of just sputter and sort of just be at the mercy of whether or not can Davante make something happen. Well, now you don't have Davante, so now you really do have to go out and get guys that have the physical attributes to win early. They have the physical attributes to get open early. And that's something that you have to get now. I think James Williams, big playability. And this is a guy that fits into that slot role, I think, can play probably outside a little bit too, can do both. And I think having that versatility, having a guy who is super fast, super quick, I think really makes a lot of sense for the Packers here to go out and get someone like this. This would definitely probably be your pick 22. You might even have to trade up. There's a chance you might have to trade up to go get this guy. I mean, who really knows with this draft? I mean, this is a guy that you could see potentially, you know, he could be wide receiver 1 on some people's board, right? I mean, this could be a guy that could be the first wide receiver off the board. There's a chance he never even lasts to 22, but if he is there at 22, and if it's not too much of a reach for you to maybe trade up to, I don't know, maybe 15, 16, something like that, and go nag him, I would say go do that. But this is a guy that has fluid route running ability, quickness, can create separation. That is what this team needs. You need a guy that can really push those deep routes down the field vertically, and I think that's something that you need. And yeah, I think this is a really good pick here. And yeah, that's why Jamison Williams, number 3 on my board of who I want to see the Green Bay Packers draft. So number 2 on my sort of wish list is Garrett Wilson. This is another guy, potentially the best receiver in the class, but if he falls, let's say maybe guys decide, you know what, I want Garrett Wilson, or not Garrett Wilson, or guys decide I want Jamison Williams, I want, you know, whoever. You know what I mean? I think that's a potential where you could see Chris Olave go before Garrett Wilson. Well, if he's maybe the third guy on the board, or sort of the third guy left out of these like receivers, out of the top 5 receivers that are sort of projected in the draft class, then I think there's a chance you could see the Packers, I think, potentially, to trade up and go grab this guy. I know there's been rumors Garrett Wilson, he could go as early as, I believe, 4 to the Jets. But let's say he doesn't. Let's say he lasts a little bit longer. then I think this is a guy that the Packers should definitely go after. Once again, another guy that is a really good route runner. The Packers need guys that can really run routes well. I feel like, it's so weird. The Packers for so long now, the only guy that they've had on this team that I think was a consistently good route runner was Davante Adams. You have a guy in Alan Lazard who's a sloppy route runner. I mean, just sloppy, just really, just terrible. Can't win early, can't get open early. Takes way too long to get through his routes. And then you've had guys like MVS. He's a straight line runner. That's really it. And if he gets pressed even a little bit, forget about it. He's not here anymore. You had a guy in Equinemius St. Brown. Nothing. So this is why I'm somewhat excited about this draft, because now this is a position, like I said before, they have to go after it. And there's some really good talent here. And I think Garrett Wilson is maybe some of the best talent, but I think there's guys, Jamison Williams, he sounds like he's flying up draft boards. It sounds like, teams aren't going to be too worried about that injury. And this is the guy that can really create a lot of separation and can just get open. And that's what I like to hear. Just get some guys that can get open, please. That's all I ask. Just get two guys that can get open consistently. And I think this Packers team is primed, ready to go to a Super Bowl and win one. I don't care that it's, potentially going to be rookies. You can do it with rookies, in my opinion, when you have a really good quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. So Garrett Wilson, number 2 on my I want them to draft list. They probably won't. They'll probably upset me. So let's get to number 1. Number 1 on my list is Treylen Burks out of Arkansas. And I know he's not maybe as highly sought after as the other 2 receivers I mentioned, but that's why I think he has the most likely chance to be available not only at 22, but at 28 as well. I don't think they're going to double dip in the first round at receiver. So I think there's a chance they just end up with one guy at receiver, and I do think they're gonna go offensive lineman with one of, just depending on how it plays out. So Burks, I think, could be your pick 22, and then Linderbaum or Zion Johnson probably could be your pick 28. I would be very happy if the draft played out that way, but I think of these guys I listed, one of these guys is going to be a Green Bay Packer. At the very least, 2 of them are going to be Green Bay Packers, I think. I just think that's how it's going to play out. But Treylen Burks, this is a guy with a lot of game speed. I know he didn't run too well. But I think when you watch him play, this guy was just burning everyone. I don't think the 40 is necessarily the best indicator of speed for wide receivers just because of the stance. When the hell do receivers ever run out of a route in that sort of stance? That just doesn't really happen too much. So I don't really think that is the sort of end-all be-all for receivers when it comes to speed. And also, unlike Kenny Pickett, I'm not sure why I'm picking on Kenny Pickett so much, Treylen Burks has very big hands. Big, strong hands, can pluck the ball right out of the air. Yeah. I mean, he has strong hands, and he had a very low drop rate at Arkansas. Did not drop the ball at all, really. This was a guy that if the ball hit his hands, he was bringing it in, and his speed then allowed him to sort of take it for 6. I think this is a guy that, once again, could be a really good outside player, but I think this is a guy that, once again, could be really good in the slot, and I think that'd be really interesting for the Packers. I think this is a guy that would really fit with Matt LaFleur's offense. I think he could maybe almost play that kind of Deebo Samuel role a little bit. A lot of that motion offense that we really didn't see a lot of this past season, mostly because they didn't have guys that could do it. Treylen Burks, he could do it. I think the Packers, when it comes to the receiver position, I do expect to see them to bring in a few veterans after the draft. And so I don't think it's just going to be an all sort of young guy receiving core. I do expect him to go out and, bring in maybe a Jarvis Landry or, whoever else is out there. Maybe Robbie Anderson will be available. and that could be your real deep threat. And then you have Treylen Burks here, who will be playing in the slot. I don't know what Amari Rodgers is going to do. I don't really care. He didn't look very good. The guy could barely field a punt, so I think that's why, out of these 5 players that I've named, 3 of them have been receivers, and for good reason. It's not like what they have there right now necessarily blows you away. It's Randall Cobb, who's old. It's Alan Lazard, who moves like he's 35. I don't even think he's like 28, 29 years old. I think he's still really young, but he moves so slow. Amari Rodgers, that's a guy that I'm sort of out on after 1 year. Just really saw nothing of value from him. So yeah, this is my 5. And what do you guys think? Do you guys think the Packers will be drafting any of these players? Who do you want your team to draft? Do you think I was wrong picking these players? Is there a guy that maybe I left off here that you probably wanted to see? Honorable mentions, maybe? I don't know. Lewis Seen. Safety. They probably need some more safety help. I don't know if they're going to be paying Adrian Amos to come back after this season, so maybe get a safety. I don't know if you do that in the first round, though. Boy Mafe, if you want to go edge, maybe. Sky Moore is a guy I really like, but I just don't know if he's a first round pick. If he's there in the second round, I can see it happening. John Mechie could be a guy in the second round I can see them taking. Christian Watson, I know some people have been mocking him in the first round. I don't know about that. I feel like that sort of, we've gone down that route of these 6'4" trees. I'm just not in favor of that in the first round. If he's there in round 2, absolutely. I think you take a guy like Christian Watson and really help build out that receiver room. But I don't really think that's a pick you do in the first round. So either way, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get out of here. This has gone on longer than I thought it would. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video if you did watch it. And I will see you guys maybe Friday, maybe Thursday night, depending on what the Packers do in the draft. So I want to thank you guys for watching this one. Be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Peace.